Yeah, what's up, people from Instagram? Beautiful people, this is Jose Trujillo, world's greatest leading artist. I'm gonna do a little video right here, getting things ready. Those of you who can join in, join in. Those of you who can't, live right now, as it's happening, presento momento, present moment. I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to watch it later, and I may not answer questions later. Nah, I'm just joking, I will, because I love you guys. I'll answer some questions. So I'm going to do some water lilies, okay? This is 16 by 20 inches on stretch canvas. I'll do some water lilies. And something pretty cool. I don't know. Let's figure this out, okay? So this is a little flower water lily. Ooh la la! There it is. And then Monet would be so proud of me. He'd be like, good muchacho. If Monet spoke Spanish, he'd be like, good muchacho, good muchacho. You're a good artist, Mr. Jose Trujillo. I don't know. Why not? You know? Maybe Monet, would have been like, I like what you're doing. You know, I like that you're very adventurous. I was doing that when I got cataracts in my eyes. I was trying to be adventurous. People didn't understand it until later, many years later. Ooh, sounds like I read a book about that somewhere. So there you go. Water lilies, guys. If you guys like any of this stuff that I'm doing, please share the love. Give me some hearts, guys. This is how I make sure that you guys are watching, that it's worth doing it, that it's worth paying attention, that it's where the je ne sais quoi is. So here we go. Bam! Some yellow in there. Let's make them a little different so that all the flora is not the same, because keeps it, you know, just keeps it cool. My intuition, my artist intuition tells me that Monsieur Monet probably painted like this. You know, like, I know some stuff he looks like he's doing this, but I think he's doing it for show. I think he's doing it for show. When he's painting like this there's a video of him in the 19-something, I don't know, I think 1920s, and he's doing this. He holds it like this, and he's like, I think it's for show, because if you study his brushes, all of his brushes ended up being like this. They ended up like an arrow. And that happens to my brushes too, because I paint like this, because I scrub it, because it's harder to scrub this way. I don't believe that. Monsieur Monet, I think you were kind of playing around with people in the 1920s, telling them that you were doing something. Maybe because it looked more artistic, holding the brush like this. Maybe the actual way you held the brush looked like you know, too modern, too cray for that time. I don't know. There's a little bit of my insight on that matter. I like to look at those things. You know, they say the devil's in the detail. I like to pay attention to those little things. That's my cup of tea right there. Looking at those subtle little things in the arts. See? When you paint like this, your brushes automatically start doing what Monsieur Monet's brushes did. And it's also not so hard on your wrist when you play. You know, you find different ways to do it. There's not just one. You find different ways I've gone through so many different ways of laying paint down, pushing paint. Some artists like to call it. The hipster artists like to say, "I push paint, man." It's just different ways of doing it. It's not one way. But this, up until now, this seems to be the most comfortable way of doing it for me. when I'm doing this type of brush work like this. It just seems like my hand doesn't suffer the consequences. I mean, I don't know if you tried painting for 12 hours straight, see how your hand feels. I'm pouring some black. Lately I've been using Mars black. I think I just like how fast it dries, not necessarily because of the color. I can't really tell the difference. Maybe some of you can tell the difference between lamp black and Mars black. I know some people, someone was trying to bullshit me and tell me that they understood the difference even in the dark. Some guy selling me at an art store. I was like, oh man, you're either like painting all the time or you have a lot of downtime. One or the other. You either paint more than me or you have a lot of downtime. So something like that. Okay, guys? Now I'm going to go to the background. As crazy as this sounds, this is how I like to do it. I've seen both ways. You can start with the background and then move forward. I've done both ways. When I'm painting objects, I like to do the object first nowadays. Especially when I'm using brush. When I'm using palette knife, I like to do the background first. For obvious reason that there is a different type of control happening with the palette knife, of course. With a brush, you can get in those little areas quicker. Doesn't mean that you can't with a palette knife. You just do it quicker with a brush. In my experience, I don't know. Maybe you're able to do it quicker with a palette knife. Look at that. Je ne sais quoi. Ooh la la. Very, very, very awesome. And of course, the higher you go here, because this is not a large body of water, it's supposed to be a pond, it's going to get lighter, right? Because the higher you go means that it's the further, right? It's farther away, so it's going to get lighter. When you're in a large body of water, usually, not always, I mean, sit there and look at water. See how it reacts with the light? It'll get darker in a larger body of water. Why? I have no idea. I haven't really looked into that. Just based on my experience. Like an ocean or a big lake, sometimes the ocean for sure gets darker as it recedes to the background. It's different than a landscape. No, the landscape becomes lighter in a background. If you guys have any questions, if you guys like it, don't like it, let me know. I'm a big boy, I can take it. Let me know. If you guys like it, give me some hearts. Let me know that you guys are. But I'm not all alone here in my studio. Thank you so much, Shanaz. So, I'm using some phthalo blue and Viridian to create this blue I'm using right here. I don't just want to make it light. I want to make it rich too. So it's always this game with me. I don't know. Maybe it's something I shouldn't focus on anymore. There's always this game between making something light while keeping the richness, right? It's a silly game that I've always played with. I've also always played with making it look as abstract as possible. This is what I do when I do drawings or when I do what do you call them? Figurative art. I try to do it as abstract as possible and maintain some level of reality and it's like a crazy game that's how I learned how to paint, making it as quick as possible. But for some reason, I don't know, in my mind, I thought maybe I thought I was like, I don't know, this reincarnation of some artist or something. Talking about some silly ish. But I used to think that, man, if what if I could? And this was when I was like I was like I don't know, like 14 years old. I used to tell myself, what if I can paint really quick because I have some sort of memory from the past? And I know it sounds super crazy, and I'm able to create artwork very quick because I'm not really relying on something I know, right, that I've learned right now, but something and I never believed like in past lives or anything like that. I don't believe in that, guys. But this is how I used to play when I was younger, right? When I was creating artwork, like this sort of I don't know, some crazy little thing, that crazy little mind game, right? So that's how I started painting, with that thing in my mind. Like, what if I'm actually painting from a past memory, and I'm not really painting everything that I'm doing right now? It's got to do more with a past memory, as opposed to what I know right now. So I painted with that in my mind, and that gave me cojones to try different stuff, because in my mind I was playing, I already know it. I already know what I'm doing, so nothing could go wrong. Thank you so much, Mandy's acrylic art. Says such lovely colors. So that's what that's how I created the artwork. I was like, man, and this, I mean, it's some silly-ish, but this is how I used to think, right? It gave me permission, I guess. It's a silly game that I played. I heard that Picasso used to play a game with his sister. I think it was his sister, that he could start a drawing or a painting from anywhere in the like a figurative, painting or drawing anywhere from any place. Like if he was going to paint a horse, he could start from the tail, and then the next time he could start from the leg. And well, I had a similar game, but I used to play that with myself, right? I used to have this mental game with myself when I started painting and when I started drawing, really. And I was like, what if I'm like a reincarnation of some like Peter Paul Rubens crazy guy, or some Monet or some Delacroix or whatever, and I'm really just I can paint on demand. I can paint really quick, and because I have the knowledge of an 80-something or 90-year-old artist stuck in a new soul. It's crazy, huh? But it gave me that strength to go beyond my limitations, because I had limitations. I did not know how to paint. I did not know how to mix colors. Paula Vision says, how do you decide what to paint? One of the criteria that I use is I sketch every day. I sketch all day. I do watercolors. I do small watercolors, small drawings, charcoal drawings, pen and ink. And this keeps me fresh. So I'm always coming up with new ideas. I'm always coming up with different things. If it's not abstract, it's trees. If it's not trees, it's a portrait. I like the idea of the new artists, the plein air artists who or the daily painters who see something, right? They're always putting like a pair of shoes or an apple or whatever. I like that, but I've come to believe that that's kind of limited for me. It leaves me to like something that I can put a light on, right? And although I like using that, that approach, but my approach is more like, man, I was thinking about a horse today, for some reason, or I was thinking about angels, and I don't really, it doesn't come to me, it comes to me through the work. So I'm always creating artwork. I'm always creating drawings and like I said, ink drawings and whatnot. So that keeps me, it keeps me always fresh, and it keeps me with ideas just popping. I don't really have to think for ideas; they just kind of visit me. They're like, "Oh, dude, you remember you just drew I mean, this is me talking to myself, right? Remember you just drew some water lilies?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I just drew some water lilies," or I just did a watercolor of water lilies, and then I'm gonna show you right now what I mean. See, I do some small. So this is how my ideas come to me. See, I was doing this early on in the morning. This is how I get started with my day. This is how I prime my artistic day. I start doing artwork right away. It doesn't have to be large scale. I start doing small work, right? But this gets me going. It gets me to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And before I know it, I'm like, oh, okay, well, it's time to paint a painting. Well, I did a dozen of this, or I did 2 dozen or whatever. And then that gets me going like, oh yeah, okay, well, I'm gonna do a large painting. I wonder what I should paint. Well, pick any of the ideas that you painted, and that's, a lot of people have asked me that. That's a very important question. If you're an artist, you will know. How do I know when I'm gonna finish? When I'm finished? Simia artist asks, when do you know when you're finished? It's been hit or miss when I do videos because I like to talk and I like to talk about my process, so I keep painting. But really, it's very intuitive. Like I feel it when I'm finished. Like for example, at this point, I could be done, and I'm extremely satisfied that it's done. Like I feel like I just did the Last Supper in my mind. These are the highs that I get when I paint. Like in my mind, I'm like, man, this is, in my mind and in my heart, I just painted for you guys the Last Supper right here. And I feel like I'm finished. Anything else I'm adding, it can be there, but it doesn't have to. Anything else that I'll add as I'm talking here, as I'm chatting with you guys, it can be there, but it really doesn't have to at this point anymore, because I'm extremely satisfied with the way it just is. Anything else is details. Look, I'm going to start popping in some white in key areas to make it look like there's a movement in water, right? When I used to do this with color, not white, he used to do colorist. I mean, he was really the first colorist, I think. And those some people think that Eugène Delacroix, maybe, I don't know, maybe he was, who knows? But I know that Monet was definitely the first abstract colorist. And he did that with, he created movement with, for example, yellow, and then he just kind of went around like that. And this is not just an impression. A lot of people think that impression, right? It's not just the impression. She was trying to convey the movement, because there's a movement happening. The water's moving. The breeze is hitting it, whatever. Maybe a frog jumped. There's a movement happening. There's a constant, it's not repetitive either. So it's not always hitting in the same place. Like that philosopher said, you never step in the same river twice. It's not repetitive. It's not, there's always different things happening. That's what I love about this kind of stuff. It's always in a state of movement, but different, So, and I've been using black to create some to reinforce the line work, maybe where there isn't any. That, kind of helps it create a little bit more of, oh, okay, I see. There's some round pores there. Maybe they're water lilies. If you squint your eyes a little bit, if you're not used to looking at abstract expressionist or impressionistic work, the image becomes much more clear also. Shana says, I'm always fighting myself on deciding what to paint against what will sell. This is why when I only end up doing commissions, I only end up doing... How do you know what will sell? I don't know what will sell. I think that this is the ultimate question, right? A lot of people always ask this. They're always looking to find that out. Artists, especially artists that are in the market, of course, are always looking to find that out. I wouldn't be able to know what will sell, and even though I mean, I know it sounds like, well, dude, you sell, you will know what would sell. It comes down to your audience. It comes down to different things. For example, someone may be killing it, and I talked about this in other videos. Someone may be killing it, selling, I don't know, little fairies with big eyes. You guys may know who I'm talking about or what artist I'm talking about. And if I paint fairies with blue eyes, I may starve to death. Fairies with big eyes. Oh, I like this. I like what Claire Gowdy says. Paint what's in your heart and show it in a lot of places. Someone will like it. That's really the best approach. There are certain little things, but you'll start finding out what the market wants from you. For example, there's certain things that I know that if I paint it, maybe the market would be like, really, dude, that's not you. I've been purchasing your work. I'm not going to buy that, But someone else may be killing it with that, like I say, maybe if I do I know some guys create like those Cosmos paintings, and then they're like killing it in a corner in New York City or in LA somewhere, making, I don't know, $500-600, $1,000 a day, whatever they're doing. And if I try to do that, again, I may starve to death. First one, because I don't know how to paint that. I'm not, I wouldn't know it. It would look something like Van Gogh, And then second thing, it would be disingenuous to who I am. So I think that there's this push and pull, right? You want to paint what sells, yes, but you want to also be genuine to you and to your audience. And that is a tricky thing, and you have to find that out. The more you create artwork, the more you communicate with your audience communicates with you, and that means your collectors or whatever wherever you're selling that, they start kind of also nudging you in the right direction to what is it that they like. So it's a very complex thing. Most artists are trying to find out what sells. My 2 cents on that is just paint and paint and paint and paint, and you'll start figuring it out. And start like Claire says, start offering it to different people all over the place, to different clients, and they're gonna give you feedback on that. I think the best feedback is not what they say, it's what they're willing to pay. So here we go, guys. Check this out. Bam! The name is Jose Trujillo. I am the world's greatest living artist, guys. I'm sorry, I already have that title. It just happens to be that way. Let me give you guys the cool money shot right here. Check it out. Bam! Waterlilies. That's really just what it is. Simplicity at its finest. Thank you so much, Bernardino Arsenio. Thank you. Appreciate that. Shana says, I've mostly done landscapes, but sometimes I want to paint something wild or totally not in the expected of me. But when I don't paint, but I'm happy painting because I did think it won't sell. I get it. I completely understand that. I don't know. I think it's again, it's one of those things, you have to, it's very Pocahontas. You got to follow your heart. Listen to your heart. It's very Pocahontas. I think, that's really the approach of artists. It's listen to your heart. You're going to start finding out where to go next and what's the next turn. If I were to because I have spent a lot of time on those questions. I have spent a lot of time asking myself that same question, Shanaz. You're not alone. I think most artists are there. But it's one of those things that you're gonna find out. I think it has to do a lot with relationships too. Kind of like dating and going out and that kind of stuff. Like it's the obvious, but you still have to look good, right? It's like they're gonna love me for who I am, but you also wanna, wanna look, presentable and shower and that kind of thing. There's little things around it, right? You dress well, you're attentive and this and that, but they're also gonna love you for who you are on top of that. And I think that I would use that example with artwork as well. You want to know your craft, you want to create, the best possible artwork you can, but also they have to love you for who you are too. There has to be that in there as well. It's a little mix of things. So here you guys go. Check it out. Oh, look at that. I love that color. Every time that color pops up, this little color comes out. Turquoise, of course, but with a little hint of purple. And it just becomes really rich. Again, it's my obsession to be able to play and diffuse, I guess, to put it in those words. I don't know what other words to put it in. To make it lighter, but to make a color lighter, but keep the richness. I know it's a strange. That's not strange, but most people, when they want to do it lighter, they just add white. And I don't just want to add white. I want to be able to and not just add gray either. So it's like this little insane game that I have in my mind always when I'm trying to create artwork. How can I make it lighter, but keep the richness? Anyways, maybe I'll figure it out one day. Who knows? Maybe I'm barking at the wrong tree. So thank you guys so much. Take care. I will talk to you soon. I will share more artwork daily. I'm going to be sharing artwork, my process. Guys, if you guys haven't seen my YouTube videos, they're insane. I have over 900 videos on YouTube. You guys can go check those out too. I have different stuff, not just this. Lately, I've been posting some Instagram stuff, but I have a lot of cool art tips and whatnot for beginner to intermediate artists, and of course artists who want to reach the market and go get some gallery shows and whatnot. I have some tips in my sleeves that I can share with you guys. Also, check this out. I'm going to be posting this painting on eBay. This is going to go on an auction on eBay. So be there or be square, guys. Thank you. And thanks for the love. Bye-bye.